Hello everyone, welcome back to chapter 9 of Alice in Wonderland. We're getting towards the end of the book now, so it'll be interesting to see how it finishes. This chapter is called The Mock Turtle's Story, and a turtle is a sea creature. "You can't think how glad I am to see you again, you dear old thing," said the Duchess, as she tucked her arm affectionately into Alice's, and they walked off together. Alice was very glad to find her in such a pleasant temper, and thought to herself that perhaps it was only the pepper that had made her so savage when they met in the kitchen. Savage means really cross. "When I'm a duchess," she said to herself, not in a very hopeful tone though, "I won't have any pepper in my kitchen at all. Soup does very well without. Maybe it's always pepper that makes people hot-tempered," she went on, very much pleased at having found out a new kind of rule. "And vinegar that makes them sour, and chamomile that makes them bitter, and barley sugar and such things that make children sweet-tempered. I only wish people knew that, and then they wouldn't be so stingy about it, you know." I think she's decided that children need more sweets. She had quite forgotten the Duchess by this time, and was a little startled when she heard her voice close to her ear. "You're thinking about something, my dear, and that makes you forget to talk. I can't tell you just now what that moral of that is, but I shall remember it in a bit." "Perhaps it hasn't a moral," Alice ventured to remark. A moral is like an important message in a story. "Tut, tut, child," said the Duchess. "Everything's got a moral, if only you can find it." And she squeezed herself up closer to Alice's side as she spoke. Alice did not much like her keeping so close to her, first, because the Duchess was very ugly, and secondly, because she was exactly the right height to rest her chin upon Alice's shoulder, and it was an uncomfortably sharp chin. However, she did not like to be rude, so she bore it as well as she could. "The game seems to be going on rather better now," Alice said. "'Tis so," said the Duchess, "and the moral of it is, oh, 'tis love that makes the world go round." "Somebody said," whispered Alice, "that the world goes round by everybody minding their own business." "Ah, well, it means much the same thing," said the Duchess, digging her sharp little chin into Alice's shoulder as she added, "and the moral of that is, take care of the scents, and the sounds will take care of themselves." How fond she is of finding morals in things, Alice thought to herself. "I dare say you're wondering why I don't put my arm around your waist," the Duchess said after a pause. "The reason is that I'm doubtful about the temper of your flamingo. Shall I try the experiment?" "He might bite," Alice cautiously replied, not feeling at all anxious to have the experiment tried. "Oh, very true," said the Duchess. "Flamingos and mustard both bite, and the moral of that is, birds of a feather flock together." "Only mustard isn't a bird," Alice remarked. "Right as usual," said the Duchess. "What a clear way you have of putting things." It's a mineral, I think," said Alice. "Of course it is," said the Duchess, who seemed ready to agree to everything that Alice said. "There's a large mustard mine near me, and the moral of that is, the more there is of mine, the less there is of yours." "Oh, I know," exclaimed Alice, who had not attended to this last remark. "It's a vegetable. It doesn't look like one, but it is." Everything now seems to not make sense to Alice at all, and here you can see an illustration of the Duchess with Alice, who's holding her flamingo, still from the game of croquet they've been playing. "I quite agree with you," said the Duchess, "and the moral of that is, be what you would seem to be, or if you'd put it more simply, never imagine yourself to not be otherwise than what it might appear to others that what you were or might have been was not otherwise than what you would have been have appeared to them to be otherwise." I think I should understand that better, Alice said very politely, if I had it written down, but I'm afraid I can't quite follow it as you say it. That's nothing to what I could say if I choose, the Duchess replied in a pleased tone. Pray don't trouble yourself to say it any longer than that, said Alice. Oh, don't talk about trouble, said the Duchess. I make you a present of everything I've said as yet. That's a cheap thought of present, thought Alice. I'm glad they don't give birthday presents like that. But she did not venture to say it out loud. Thinking again, the Duchess asked with another dig of her sharp little chin. I think I've a right to think, said Alice sharply, for she was beginning to feel a little worried. Just about as much right, said the Duchess, as pigs have to fly and the But here, to Alice's great surprise, the Duchess's voice died away even in the middle of her favourite word moral, and the arm that was linked into hers began to tremble. Alice looked up, and there stood the Queen in front of them, with her arms folded, frowning like a thunderstorm. A fine day, Your Majesty, the Duchess began in a low, weak voice. Now I give you fair warning, shouted the Queen, stamping on the ground as she spoke. Either you or your head must be off, and that in about half no time. Take your choice. The Duchess took her choice and was gone in a moment. Let's go on with the game, the Queen said to Alice, and Alice was too much frightened to say a word, but slowly followed her back to the croquet ground. The other guests had taken advantage of the Queen's absence and were resting in the shade. However, the moment they saw her, they hurried back to the game, the Queen merely remarking that a moment's delay would cost them their lives. All the time they were playing, the Queen never left off quarrelling with the other players and shouting, "Off with his head!" or "Off with her head!" Those whom she sentenced were taken into custody by the soldiers. That means they were arrested and taken away, who of course had to leave off being the archers to do this, so that by the end of half an hour or so there were no archers left, and all the players except the King, the Queen and Alice were in custody and under sentence of execution. Then the Queen left off quite out of breath and said to Alice, "Have you seen the mock turtle yet?" "No," said Alice. "I don't even know what a mock turtle is." "It's the thing mock turtle soup is made from," said the Queen. "I never saw one or heard of one," said Alice. "Come on then," said the Queen, "and he shall tell you his history." As they walked off together, Alice heard the King say in a low voice to all the company generally, "You are all pardoned." "Come, that's a good thing," she said to herself, for she had felt quite unhappy at the number of executions the Queen had ordered. So the Queen has told everyone they're going to have their heads chopped off, but then when she leaves, the King explains that they are pardoned, which means that they are all let off and they're not going to be executed after all. So that's part one of this chapter, and in a few moments I'll carry on with the next part. Thank you for joining me today. Bye bye for now.